Hi there, and welcome back to History of Fleetwood Mac Singles. I'm Anita. Today it's going to be part 20, where we start in with Tango in the Night singles. Tango in the Night was released April 13th, 1987, and had actually 6 singles released from that album. First one being Big Love, which came out 1 month prior to promote the album, which was a 10-year anniversary, if you will, of Rumours. Band had been together with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks for 10 years. And when you kind of deep dive into this album, it's hard to realize that this is the last solid Fleetwood Mac album with the Rumours lineup that we've ever gotten. Um, we have plenty more Fleetwood Mac stuff to go, and we have plenty more solo stuff to go, but this is the last album, full-length studio album, with Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, Lindsey Buckingham, John McVie, and Christine McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. I think I repeated somebody twice there, but it's every time I look at this, it's just really hard for me to realize that this is kind of the end. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but just sure would have been nice to have gotten another one. It was great having the dance another 10 years later, where there was another huge resurgence of Fleetwood Mac in 97. So it was like 77 Rumours, 87 Tango, 97 The Dance. But, a lot of people thought we'd see something maybe in 2007, 2017. But as we all know, that was it. But for a studio album that actually also did so well as Tango in the Night really did, it was a complete mess. Stevie wasn't showing up for sessions. She was phoning it in. It's a great album. I mean, all the tracks and everything that everybody did, I think was great. I love this album. But what I mean is that everybody's just very disconnected from one another. And whereas Christine McVie was kind of happy to be back in there with Lindsey, and John and Mick are always up for doing stuff. It just, kind of everybody wanted to like do the job and then leave and go on tour. And of course, we'd lose Lindsey for the tour. So, yeah, I'll get more into more details again about the album in its entirety, tracks, who did what, where it was recorded, etc. when we get into the LPs. But today we're going to go over the first 2 singles. Again, Big Love, which came out 1 month prior to the album's release, March of 87, and Seven Wonders, which came out 2 months after the album's release, which came out in June of 1987. So, to start right in, we have a Fleetwood Mac Big Love, double-sided Big Love promo. Pretty simple. Big Love and Big Love. Run times are not different. They are just, I'll see on this one, nope, not even mono stereo, just double-sided because it's promotional. We have the USA release, which was a really nice, beautiful, I love this cover, even though it didn't have the band on it, and that was kind of disappointing. I just love this, I love this picture. And this cover artwork was done by Brett Livingston Strong. There have been a couple times where I've seen large paintings of this, or original paintings of this, or other pieces by Brett Livingston Strong on eBay. A couple people have some pieces, and if anybody's out there and has one in their house they just don't want anymore, I'll be sure and leave my address in the comments. I love this. Love this artwork, and it's an homage to Henry Rousseau. So if you're interested in checking out the artwork, it's just beautiful. And again, I'll get into more details, but there's just so many little, minute little things to look for. Every time I look at this, I see something new. So, simple. This is used pretty much forever. There's no difference, no variation for the Big Love cover used in any other countries. They go with this beautiful kind of melon color, peach pink tone, which really fitted nicely. Yeah, but this is used in, every country it got released. It's virtually the same single, so that's why it won't take us so long. So, Big Love released with You and I Part 1 as a first B-side. So now we have the third different B-side from Fleetwood Mac over the years. We had Cool Water, we had Silver Springs, and now we have You and I Part 1, which was a nice difference. And as you'll see, we'll get into some more B-sides. So there's that one. And the single, just the standard white label. Not white, like the promotional ones, but the kind of off-white. The Canadian first one, the promotional one, had no picture sleeve. Canadian promo had Big Love, backed with Big Love, just like the American one. But Canada did release a picture sleeve, almost identical to the United States. Pardon me, this one had some writing on it, unfortunately. A little bit of a different font here. And everything also says from the forthcoming album, because as I mentioned, came out about a month before the album was released. So, pretty simple there. Mexico also had a promo, Big Love, backed with Big Love. The standard WEA sleeve. And then the single itself. Guatemala. This one is different. This was kind of a cool addition to my collection. If you hear any sound, I apologize. It's my dog deciding to have the zoomies right now. She makes it very hard to concentrate. This is a really neat, this is a Spots, like a commercial Spots 45 that came out of Guatemala. And this includes Fleetwood Mac with Big Love, Madonna's Causing a Commotion, Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now, and it says Whispers, but it was a song Rock Steady, which I didn't think was by the Whispers. But I guess it is, but I remember that song. Then on the B side, you had the Bee Gees, which I don't know because it's in Spanish, I guess. Heart, Animal, La Bamba, and Madonna. So on the back side, it quits saying what the pieces are. But on the front side, even though Fleetwood Mac doesn't say Big Love, that is what's on it. But for all the rest of the artists, it does mention what the little spots are. So this looks like maybe it was like a radio promo thing for the hits that were out in 1987. Almost all the releases that I have for Big Love on the back, it says from the forthcoming, because again, came out a month before. This one does not. And I'm going to guess, I think I read somewhere that this had come out in December of 87. So the album would have been out for about 8 months by that time. So, but really neat little addition to my collection. UK, we have a very different label. Very nice, striking silver and black label. But same sleeve. A little bit more like the American release with the font back there. This is out of the, what did I say, the UK? Yep, UK. Then the UK also had a different release that did come out sometime later, and this one's kind of hard to come by. This is a really neat package. I forgot, I thought it was a gatefold, but when I opened it up to have it ready for you guys, I forgot it was just a slip sleeve with 245s in it. Double-sided. And it includes Big Love with You and I Part 1. And the second record has The Chain backed with Go Your Own Way. And both The Chain and Go Your Own Way are album cuts. Nothing is live or anything like that. So it's just the album cuts from Rumours. So this is really a nice have. And like I said, you don't come by this too often. Again, if you're out there, anybody's, collecting or looking for stuff to collect, I would definitely say for the Tango items, this is one to look for. So again, out of the UK. And as I had mentioned with the chain on the picture disc for Oh Diane, a B-side 45 was the chain used, I guess, in a show called the Grand Prix in the UK, which I guess was a pretty big deal, and they just continuously use the chain for that, for their opening credit song or something like that. Fleetwood Mac Big Love with You and I Part 1 as well for Germany. This is a standard, again, just a standard label. Same sleeve. it could be a little bit of a paler, or it just could be age. It's hard for me to tell. But some of the colors are just very, very different. This darker kind of lends more to all the ones I've shown you thus far. But this one is the first light one. Again, could be age, or it just could be they used a different paper, or it could be because of the texture. Kind of hard to say. Out of France is kind of the first small variation, very small, but just how it looks on the front there compared to all the rest, which is kind of striking. Really stands out. And theirs is very pale on the back, even paler than the prior one. Well, no, about the same. I think a little bit paler. And this is very new. This is in really good shape. Hardly any ringwear whatsoever. So still for France, Big Love, You and I Part 1. Standard label. Out of Guatemala, Big Love, Back with You and I Part 1. Nothing really special. Label's a little bit different. It's more reminiscent of the Mirage labels, where the lines are more defined in there. Again, Back with You and I Part 1. And just their standard, as I've shown you in the past, you've seen a couple that look just like this, out of Guatemala. Italy, same thing. Same sleeve, a little bit paler. So I think they just had different paper, possibly, or somebody couldn't quite match the dark, it's pretty spot on, but just a paler melon color. It'll be funny because it'll come up in a scrapbook part that I have when I did a lot of pages for Tango In The Night for scrapbooking. I found solid paper. It was verbatim almost this color, and I was just so giddy and just did a lot of work with it and recreated very lush green scenes with some photos of the band but finding this paper that was called Melon. So I call it that. I don't know if it's really melon color, but it does kind of remind me of like cantaloupe or something like that. So but I just love this peach melon shade with the greens like that. It's just very attractive. This one is a little bit different. I thought this might have been again, out of Italy, a promotional record, but I don't believe so when I looked up the wording. Just looks to be a standard release for them. Just maybe how it was used or something. They needed that stamp. And ending with, can you guess? Japan. Japan, same thing. They did a little bit different by using the cover, but then inserting this photograph, which is by Greg Gorman. Again, with these barcodes. As you'll see on the next one, I guess in Japan, it was a very big thing to do at their libraries to have the album, 45, CD singles, what have you, as rentals. You could check the record out, which I think is great. I've been to libraries where they had some albums, but I'd never seen like CD singles or 45s. So I thought that was really kind of a unique thing. Yeah, so on the back here, same photo that was used on the front. The lyrics. Again, I love their layouts. Just looks sharp. A little bit of that, a little bit of a darker color, a little bit of blue. Just looks really nice. This one is as I say, the white label, so it's a very stark white. And it is, again, I want to say, how to say it correctly, is kanji, which is Japanese writing. It's this part here that says it is a promotional. And then, nope, actually, I take that back. I thought that this one was the rental. This is exactly the same. I have two of these, it appears. So, moving on. So next we have Seven Wonders, which again came out in June of '87, so 2 months after Tango in the Night came out. This Seven Wonders, I want to say, charted a little bit higher than Big Love. I had seen that somewhere, and now I can't remember. I don't remember what Big Love charted out, but I'm pretty sure that Seven Wonders peaked at 19 on the charts, which is not terrible considering all the competition and what was going on around '87 radio wise, the bands and such. I do know that it was a big hit. Seven Wonders used quite some time later in American Horror Story. When Stevie does a little piece of that, and people lost their minds, myself included. So Seven Wonders, I apologize, holds a dear spot for a lot of us. I have quite a few friends where it's their absolute favorite song, and it is one of Stevie's, I think, better songs with Fleetwood Mac. I can't imagine this having been something for a solo album. It just really feels like a Stevie Nicks song with Fleetwood Mac. So this one is just the U.S. release with actually, U.S. release. Again, Greg Gorman photography. Same on the back. I love this session. We saw quite a bit more of this released in the deluxe Tango in the Night album. We saw some more outtakes from the session. In my collection as well, I have even some more outtakes that have not been in circulation before. So some really neat pictures. And even though you can't see their faces, it also, to me, kind of just really captures Fleetwood Mac at the time. Just, again, kind of the end. In not a bad way, just kind of everybody's off doing their own thing. We're kind of done now. Maybe we don't love each other right now exactly, but, we're a family, and, but we're just kind of having fun on our own, doing our own silly stuff. So, this was the USA release, Seven Wonders, also with Book of Miracles, yet another B-side. So we got, I believe, 2 B-sides. I had said You and I Part 1 is a B-side. I apologize. It's later, it will be You and I Part 2 that became a B-side. My apologies. But still, we had 2 B-sides from Tango in the Night 45s. So I'll correct myself again later. Canadian, just Canadian sleeve, no picture sleeve for Canada. Kind of not strange, just again one of those things you notice, but very, very dark, very bold. Fleetwood Mac on the label. So Seven Wonders with Book of Miracles for Canada. Not a promo, just the regular issue. Germany, same cover. I believe this one also is one of those rare ones that has a little... These are really hard to come by, and they're just great. Can't read it aloud for you because it's in German, but yeah, I love this. This gets sent out, I guess, to radio stations. A lot of times they get it because when the song comes out and they're playing it and they talk about it, they chuck these. So I was really happily surprised when I acquired this from a once really dear friend of mine, and it still had this little sheet in there. It was really a nice find. So out of Germany, Seven Wonders backed with Book of Miracles, standard sleeve, and the insert is a little bonus, but wouldn't normally come with this. So Seven Wonders backed with Book of Miracles out of Guatemala. Not much to see there, just the regular sleeve. Label again is kind of reminiscent of the way the labels looked during Mirage. A really cool find, a Seven Wonders backed with Book of Miracles out of South Africa. And lastly, we have Seven Wonders with Book of Miracles out of Japan. Now this one is the one, yeah. So, slight variance on the artwork, just how the layout is. They make this photo bigger with the small picture of the album. They used the photo they had used on the cover of Big Love as a back photo, which they had also done on the insert on that. And this one is the promotional one. So the white label promotional. But as I had stated with the rental, it's just a sticker. But nonetheless, it was a sticker that was on the front. Hence, I guess the barcode and other stickers as a library rental. That's a really great idea. Unfortunately, I'll be completely 100% transparent. I probably wouldn't have returned them myself. No, of course I would have. I would have just gone out and bought my own. But had this been in the States and I didn't know I could acquire it, back in 1987, I probably would have checked it out and just paid whatever the consequences were and just kept it. Because I would have been like, oh my God, this is so cool. So back, same, and standard label. So that is it for part 1 of Tango in the Night. Part 2, we're going to knock out the rest of the singles, which are Little Lies, Family Man, and Isn't It Midnight. Little Lies, another big hit for Fleetwood Mac as a single, and Everywhere, which is currently a hit because boy howdy is that used in darn near every commercial you're seeing nowadays. Were definitely released in the United States, but Family Man and Isn't It Midnight seem to be more UK releases. Again, I'll go into a bit more detail in the next video, but yeah, we have a stack about as big, thereabouts, of the remaining singles there. So until next time, thank you again so much for joining me, and have a great night. Bye.